President Stead and members of the board and community, it is my great pleasure to introduce staff sponsor and teacher, Miss Jodi Bullinger from Pioneer High School, who teaches psychology at Pioneer. And she has with her two wonderful students who are going to share a student voice. Come right on down, guys. We're happy to have you here.
So I'll share a few words and then we're going to hand it over to them because they really have done some phenomenal work. Thank you so much for taking the time to allow us to share the positive things that we're enjoying doing at Pioneer High School. This is Hamza Baccouche. He's a senior at Pioneer High School. He is the Student Council Vice President. He is a triathlete. He's the track captain. He's a very articulate and highly involved young man, being courted by several colleges, all of whom will be lucky when he makes his choice. He spent an incredible amount of time, thought, and care making sure that all of the student organizations that we have at Pioneer were meticulously filmed. He spent a lot of time on film editing, so this is really a substantial project. He brings with him Emily Roopas, who will be going to Michigan State. She is a 2-year captain of the tennis team and 4-year varsity athlete, and I've known her since she was really tiny, but I promise not to embarrass her. So, this is essentially the third iteration of the documentary at Pioneer High School. It started out as a very student-driven project. I will say that I am also a product of the Ann Arbor Public Schools. Linda Carter may or may not have been my orchestra teacher a long time ago. And when I first posted our documentary on social media, the response from alumni was really overwhelming. And the consistent message was very much that people remember their Ann Arbor Public Schools experience 15, 20, and 30 years later and are very proud of the history of performing arts and athletics that we have here. And so I did want to pass that along to all of you, that what we do here now as staff really does leave a lasting impression that I think is somewhat unique to our school district. So I'm going to turn this over to all of you. Go for it.
All right, so we've got our student leadership report for this year.
Okay, so first up, we have the Pioneer Learning Center. It's new this year, and it's run by the head of our English and Social Studies departments, Mr. Packard and Mrs. Kunick. The Pioneer Learning Center is hosted every day in the cafeteria during 7th hour, and it's for students who need help or who are waiting for a ride or who are waiting for practice to start. They can come and get help from teachers, and we also have numerous National Honor Society students who can help tutoring. On any day, there's anywhere from 50 to 100 students that come during 7th period, and most of the Pioneer students, including Hamza and myself, have been there at least once in our 4 years.
All right, so we've got a number of service projects going on this year. The first one is the Student Council Philanthropy Committee organized a coat drive back in the fall. They collected used and new coats and hats and gloves for the upcoming winter, which was very cold, and they distributed them to those in need throughout Washtenaw County. In addition, our Pioneer Interact Club had a canned food drive where they collected canned food and distributed that. Harmony Works and Pioneer Gift Club, which I was actually worked with them on this, we conducted a toiletries drive, so we collected all sorts of stuff like soap, shampoos, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and distributed all that to Syrian refugees within Washtenaw County. And Interact Club also has a new program this year where they FaceTime students from a school called Grace English in Guatemala, and they work with them on improving their English. So I think that's very unique because they're working with a school halfway across the world. And in addition, Harmony Works, it's on the come up this year. It's not a Pioneer-based organization, but it's run in the community by Pioneer students. And it conducts music education for underprivileged students and conducts musical charity performances. And in addition, our health sciences class, which Emily and I are both fortunate to be a part of, we're teamed up with the Veterans Administration Hospital this year to have a toiletries drive for veterans. So we have the 5th Annual Academic Awards Assembly coming up. That'll be on Monday, May 15th. It's an annual assembly we have. This is obviously the 5th rendition of it, but we use it as an opportunity to recognize all the wonderful academic achievements of all the students at Pioneer. It's very representative of everyone and very broad demographic. We have business awards, social studies awards, science fair awards, everything you can think of, we name it. And there's even an athletic award for male and female athlete of the year. And every year we bring a guest speaker. This year our guest speaker is Candace Davis Price. She graduated a few years back from Pioneer and ran Division I track at USC. She very narrowly missed the Olympics in 2008 and 2012. And now she coaches at Pioneer as the assistant track coach.
This year in sports, our women's field hockey team has won their 3rd consecutive state championship. The women's and men's cross-country team have gotten 2nd and 5th at the states, and the women's volleyball also reached the regional finals. Men's basketball won district championships against Huron. Our senior Rayvon Foley led the wrestling team to their first individual state championship in over 30 years. Both the women's and men's track and field won a series of events at indoor states. Also, the women's golf team finished the fall season with the highest team GPA in the state. With regards to extracurriculars, the Pioneer coding team medaled in a number of statewide competitions. Pioneer's National Economics Challenge team placed 3rd and 5th in the state in the amateur and advanced divisions, respectively. Pioneer Science Olympiad won regionals and is now competing in state, and the Pioneer Chess Club won the state championship.
In addition, we have the home building class, which Ms. Bullinger just gave us word of before we came up here. They won 2nd and 4th place in a national carpentry competition.
Awesome. That's great.
So our music program this year is doing wonderful as always. The Symphony Orchestra had their trip to New Orleans over spring break, where they won Best High School at the National Music Festival there, out of numerous high schools competing there. This year, all the bands, orchestras, and choirs made it to the Midwestern Music Clinic, which is one of the most highly regarded music clinics in the entire world. It's some of the best high schools in the world come to this clinic, and they perform, and all of our music programs made it there, and they all did wonderful there, and I think that's just a testament to how great our music programs are doing. In addition, this year they completely ended the high school Grammy Awards, but that also meant for us that we were the most award-winning program in its history because we won too many. Last thing we have for you today is the Disability Awareness Day. We had that a couple months ago, and that was, we actually were fortunate to have very nice weather. It was hosted in the gym and eventually outside. We brought several classes from across the school down throughout the entire day, and there were we were raising awareness for different disabilities, much of the less apparent cognitive impairments that a lot of students suffer from. And we were, in addition, raising money for disability research and awareness. We had a dunk tank which featured Mr. Skiba and Mr. Leach, and everybody was a big fan of that. And we got to have our special education peers throwing the balls at the dunk tank, and they really enjoyed it. And in addition, we had the annual Spread the Word to End the Word campaign, where we teach students not to use the word retarded, and we have them sign a pledge to make sure that they do not use that word. And I think it's a very positive message. It's a very strong message that we're spreading throughout the community and throughout the school. So that'll be all.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much for your time.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thank you.